Okay, let's get into the stock market technical analysis. We're going to go ahead and look at various charts. We'll look at some of these tech stocks. I want to look at wheat. We could take a look at gold. I don't see a whole lot there, but there is a sector that is actually very interesting. Looks like a pretty decent trade setup. And I also want to cover interest rates. So starting off today, if you guys are finding value, please drop me a thumbs up. If you're interested in the private member group, I'm giving additional trade ideas, additional trade insights. By no means are all my trades going to work out in there. Some do, some don't. Okay, so I'm just pointing out additional trade ideas in that member group. So if you're interested, link in the description below on that. Triple Qs, guys. We on the daily chart here, we continue to kind of grind within this bearish rising wedge here. We have clear, pretty clean negative divergence on the daily chart. Both momentum indicators indicating that we are very likely going to see a trend reversal, okay, very soon. We don't have a sell signal. We don't have a break of the trend line support, all right? You got support right through here, and we do not have that breakdown as of right now, so we'll need to see that breakdown in order to initiate at least a more traditional sell signal. Now we have, I think the market's closed on Monday, so maybe we will have to pick this back up on Tuesday unless we see a breakdown today. Okay, that's it on the triple Qs. And we can go into some of these additional sectors. I've seen, like on CNBC and stuff, they're trying to pump Tesla now. They're basically saying, oh, time to buy Tesla. And and maybe not Nvidia, but I'm not so sure. Here's the thing. I did point this out in the private member group about 6 days ago as a potential breakout and a long trade. So far that's worked out. On the hourly chart, here's what I pointed out. We were going down this trend line here. We had bullish divergence showing up on the hourly, and we basically broke out right through here. It wasn't super impulsive, but it was a breakout, so I pointed it out. It came down for another back test, and then, it's rallying. There's a gap to fill. That would be the first target, would be that gap. It might do it today. And then, that's the first target. So that's really the only target that I had in that private member group trade. So that would be that one. Whether it goes much beyond that, I'm not exactly sure. We'll have to look at some of these other stocks. So here's Apple. Again, Apple over the biggest thing here on Apple that I can see, let me reset my chart. You've got this uptrend line on Apple, all right? This is going back to January of 2023. So, over a year, we got support. This is a reaction even on that support line because they gapped it down but rallied it right back up. So I'll count that. And then right here, we're below it now, and also the 200-day simple moving average below that. But you can see they're kind of battling it for that. They're really trying to hold that. So you can see basically hit the 200. Below the 200, they bought it up. Below the 200 here, they bought it up. And we're below it now, and they're trying to buy it up and hold the 200. So that's kind of what's going on Apple. So that'll be, we'll see what happens there. A daily close below the 200. If it's just below the 200, it's not a definitive kind of breakdown. Sometimes you'll see them kind of close just below just to snap it right back up the next trading day. But it's something to kind of take note of. If we can start to build on daily closes below the 200, then that might be something that we'll want to watch for. Nvidia, really nothing going on. I don't see a trade here. It's kind of treading water recently. Last couple days, it's just been kind of floating. But there's no real breakdown or sell signal. And if I go back to the daily chart, you can see it's basically just continuing to go up. There's no reversal candlesticks, bearish engulfing. There's nothing going on. So I don't have a trade there. This one's going to have to break in order for the market to break. It's really over-owned, so I think it will likely gap down. I don't think it's just going to give the bulls, the people who are just, throwing, just foaming at the mouth bullish and just buying this no matter what. I don't think it's going to give them an opportunity to get out on just an intra-market breakdown, like where it just starts selling off during the day. I think it's going to gap down and trap some of these bulls. So that's my guess. But as of right now, there's not, I can't short it, can't take a position there. It's way overbought. Doesn't mean it can't become more overbought, but it's not objective to go long. it's pretty high risk. Excuse me, pretty high risk. Google, kind of breaking down today. We'll see if we get a daily close, but on the daily chart, I've got this bearish rising wedge here, and you can see they broke. It broke down intraday back here on the February 2nd. The buyer stepped in and bid it back up. Yesterday closing right on that trend line. Today below it, we'll see where the buyers are at the end of the day. Obviously, the bulls will try to buy it, but it depends on what happens. If we get a daily close, especially if we see some more selling, then that would be a break of Google, and that would be one of these Mag 7 stocks down. If Apple closes below the 200, especially the more impulsive the close, the better. Microsoft has a sell signal. It's on a sell signal. So on the daily chart here, you can see this is kind of a shorter time frame, but this goes back to basically almost the beginning of January, so about a month long. And we broke, with the gap down. All right, broke. That was a sell signal right there. It's been treading water. Could back test, but I don't know. I'm not so sure if it's going to. Doesn't always have to back test. It is a sell signal, so rallies should be sold. Is how this one is viewed, and I think we're heading down to about this 382 for the next level down. Meta obviously still has the potential for an island cluster top. There's your cluster, not an island yet. To make it an island, what you need to see is you see the gap up, all right, and then you need to see a gap down. That creates the island cluster top. All right, so we're still kind of waiting to see if we get that gap down. If we do, that's usually a swing tradable, a trend. Basically, it's a trend reversal, and it would signal the end of this uptrend. So we'll see on that. Really nothing going on. It's just kind of treading water since earnings report. And then Amazon, same thing, gapped up on earnings, and it's just kind of treading water. So again, just the potential for the island cluster top, we need to see that gap down. So be on the lookout for that. It's likely, with the gap down, it's likely going to show up in the pre-market or in after hours. So it's going to open with a gap down, and essentially that is a sell signal if we see that gap down. Okay, something to take note of, interest rates, 10-year treasury yield. This is, to me, interest rates are rising, guys. You can see we are making higher lows. We don't have a new low, but we have higher highs. We are in an uptrend. I don't see divergence. I see momentum moving up, okay, on this daily chart, and I see price moving up. So interest rates are rising. The market hasn't taken notice yet. There's still this narrative that the interest rates are going to fall because the Fed's going to cut. But if you look at the Fed fund futures, those interest rates are getting priced out of the market. I mean, they're slowly coming off the table. The market loves to push narratives that never actually pan out, and the media piles on, and everybody. It's almost like a way to rope people into a trade. But the market has, the media has been saying, oh, interest rates are going to fall, the Fed's going to cut. Maybe they do cut, but it doesn't mean interest rates don't rise first. We might see a spike in interest rates, and that's going to very likely, very probable, going to spook the market, and the market might have a really hard sell. Then you see the Fed cut rates. So yeah, the Fed might cut rates, but it doesn't mean the market's going to just be, going up and the Fed's cutting rates. The market might be crashing down, and very likely that's the case. That's typically when you see the Fed cutting rates, is when the market's crashing down. So with interest rates rising, or at least that's the thesis, and on the charts, that's what it's been. We're kind of at resistance, but we pop above here. That's going to be a spike in interest rates. Home builders, all right, they look interesting to me. Now, if I look at like the XHB, you can see here this is the home builder kind of ETF. You can see, look at that, negative divergence, momentum's dropping, and we just kind of divergent high. This to me looks like topping action. My trend lines, who knows? I still think we're in this kind of big bearish rising wedge. We did break down. It's not the cleanest pattern anymore, so I might have to go back to work on that one. But this right up in here looks like a topping pattern where we're spiking up, making divergent high, to me, I think we're coming down. I think we're going to start to break down. And then I've been looking through Toll Brothers. They're kind of a high-end home builder, so maybe market to the higher-end people who have cash to buy. So maybe not as interest rate sensitive, but something like Pulte or DHI or something. Here's PHM. You can see here, look at the momentum just completely dropping off on the daily chart. And where's this thing going? You know, it pops up, it's a divergent high, sells off, divergent high, sells off, divergent high, sells off. This is topping action. Okay, so this looks like distribution to me. You have support basically at the lows down here. So, you know, you break those and that's going to be, you know, a definitive sell signal. But yeah, this looks like topping action to me with this divergence building. So I'm taking a starter short position on this one. It's definitely higher risk because we can continue to diverge. We can continue to kind of pop up and put in new highs. This divergence is no sell signal, so nothing says we can't continue to kind of pop up and continue to diverge, or even pop up and burn through the divergence. There is no sell signal, so keep that in mind. Let's take a look at wheat. This is the wheat ETN. Yesterday we took out the most recent lows right here. We're looking at the daily chart. You know, pretty impulsive sell-off right there. So that's not good, obviously. And, you know, momentum, we still have the bullish divergence. It is just extending, so we'll keep an eye on that. What we really, if you're not long this thing, what you really would want to see is a recovery back above those lows right there. So back above 539. That would signal this is a false breakdown. As of now, that is a breakdown. So not looking good on the ETN. The futures, a little more promising. Here's the wheat futures. They're obviously coming down. We do have some support. You can see basically support through here, several reactions, and we're kind of heading down there now. So keep an eye on that support level. And yeah, we'll just, it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, we're at support or near support on the futures. The ETN's breaking down, so you'll want to see that recover to signal that false breakdown. And until that happens, it is a breakdown. Here's this volley trade. I signaled this one as a potential long in the private member group. Just covering this real quick. You've got support, you've got bullish divergence on this hourly chart. It's kind of a short-term trade, but you can see there's a breakout, back test, kind of muddled around for a little bit, and then gapping up and continuing that uptrend. So that one looks good. It's kind of filling a gap right here, so maybe a pullback. But I think you're probably going to run up and hit that 200-day moving average at a minimum, and then we've got targets up ahead at 1450. And another daily gap fill right there. You can see the gap right there on the daily at 1475. So that's what I have on that one. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up, guys. I gotta run. Drop me a thumbs up on your way out, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.